Hello and welcome. So, if you're an architect getting ready to tackle an application migration to Azure, you already know it's a huge deal. It can feel like you're trying to explore a whole new world without a map. But what if you had a playbook, a set of solid, proven strategies to guide every single decision you make? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk through today.
So many conversations about moving to the cloud seem to start and end with that one phrase, lift and shift. But the reality? It's so much more complex than that. Just picking up your servers and dropping them into a data center in the sky often means you're leaving most of the cloud's real power and all those potential savings on the table. The journey has to be way more strategic.
And this, right here, is the perfect way to think about it. Instead of just one big, brute force move, you need to think like a coach with a playbook full of different plays for different situations. For cloud migration, that playbook is often called the 5 Rs, and honestly, it's our essential guide for this whole process.
All right, let's get right to the heart of it. These 5 strategies are basically the fundamental options you have for every single application you're looking at. Really getting a handle on them is the first and I'd say most critical step for any cloud architect.
Okay, first up is rehost. This is the classic lift and shift we were just talking about. It's the fastest way to get your stuff into the cloud, period. You're basically just taking your application and its virtual machine and plopping it into Azure with almost no changes. It's quick, it's pretty low risk, and frankly, it's often the only option for old legacy systems where you just can't touch the code. The downside, you're not really using what makes the cloud special, so it can be the least cost-effective choice in the long run.
Next, we have replatform, which I like to call the lift and tinker approach. This is where you're still moving the main application over, but you make a few smart changes along the way to get some cloud benefits. A perfect example is taking your on-premise database and moving it to a managed service like Azure SQL. You instantly get awesome perks like automatic backups and scaling, and you didn't have to rewrite your entire app to get them.
And now we get to refactor. This is the big one, the full re-architect. This is where you're actually rebuilding parts of your application to be truly cloud native. We're talking about breaking up a clunky old app into nimble microservices, putting them in containers with something like Azure Kubernetes Service, and just unlocking incredible scale and agility. It's definitely the most work, but it also gives you the biggest payoff in performance and future innovation.
Sometimes the smartest move is to not move anything at all. The retire strategy is all about taking a good, hard look at everything you've got. Do we even still need this thing? Does another application already do this? Shutting down an app that's not adding value anymore is a massive win. It saves money and cuts down on complexity right away. And finally, we have retain. This one is just acknowledging a simple truth. Not everything belongs in the cloud right now. Maybe it's a mainframe application that's just way too complex to move, or a system with really strict data rules. Keeping it on-premise is a totally valid strategic decision. The important part is that it's a deliberate choice, not just something you forgot about.
Okay, so the theory is great, right? But let's see how this playbook actually works in the real world. We're going to look at 3 super common types of applications and figure out which migration strategy fits best for each.
Let's see how this plays out. Say you have a stable, old legacy CRM that just needs to keep on chugging. A simple rehost to an Azure VM makes total sense. It gets you to the cloud fast with minimal headaches. Now, for an e-commerce site, you might replatform the web part to Azure App Service for easy scaling, or you could go all in and refactor the backend into microservices on AKS to handle those crazy Black Friday traffic spikes. And a big data app? Oh yeah, a full refactor to a service like Azure Synapse is almost always the right move to unlock all of its incredible analytics power.
So this brings us to the most important question. How do you choose? You've got the 5 plays, you've seen some examples, but what's your guide? Well, it's not just about the tech. It's really about the business.
Think of your decision-making compass as having 3 key directions. First, what are your business goals? Are you just trying to slash costs, or are you trying to innovate and get new products out the door faster? Second, what's your risk tolerance? Can you afford any downtime at all? And third, what's the project timing? Do you have a hard deadline, like a data center lease that's about to expire? These drivers are what will point you to the right R.
Before you commit to any one path, you absolutely have to run through a kind of pre-flight checklist with your team. These are the non-negotiable questions that every architect needs to have clear, written-down answers for.
First and foremost, why are we doing this? Seriously. If the answer is to save money, then a super complex and expensive refactor might be the totally wrong choice.
If the answer is to build cool new features for our customers, then a simple rehost just isn't going to get you there. Aligning the tech plan with the business why is everything.
Next, you need to be brutally honest about risk. A mission-critical application that can't afford to be down for even a second is a terrible candidate for a risky massive refactor right out of the gate. Maybe you start with a replatform instead. Your risk profile really dictates your pace and your strategy.
And finally, you've got to be realistic. A full refactor sounds amazing, sure, but do you actually have developers with the right skills? Is your timeline 6 months or is it 6 weeks? Your resources, your people, your time, and your budget are the ultimate reality check. You have to choose the path you can actually pull off successfully.
So if you remember one thing, let it be this. The goal isn't to pick the most complicated, technically impressive strategy. The goal is to pick the one that perfectly aligns with your business, your tolerance for risk, and the resources you actually have. The best path is simply the one that moves your business forward, and now you have the playbook to help you find it.